What's up, duelists? Amaryllis Saturday is back, and today I'm playing my favorite build of Amaryllis. You've seen many builds of Amaryllis in the past, but you've never seen this build, except you may have seen this build if you've talked to me at all, ever, about Amaryllis. This is one of my favorite ways to play this deck. I'll break it down in just a second, but I have to remind you guys, RBET Genesis, or RBET at Genesis, I guess. RBET at Genesis is coming up next February, and we have a brand new RBET we are announcing in the next few days that's going to be taking place in January. Make sure and stay tuned. You don't want to miss that update. It's gonna be a banger update for those of you who enjoyed some of the RBETs this season. There's going to be a great one that is taking place in January that we are going to be announcing. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this deck. We've got the Lone Fire Blossom, obviously. Dandelion, obviously. 3 Titanial. That's kind of the draw of playing this deck, because you can summon Titanial a bunch of times. And then triple Amaryllis. This card's pretty good. It allows you to grind out life points from your opponent towards the later part of the game. It's free advantage if it gets in the graveyard. Trade-in plus Amaryllis is kind of like Destiny Draw plus Malicious. A little bit weaker, albeit a little bit weaker, but it applies a lot of pressure. Attacks for about 3,000 on its own, thanks to the self-pop, self-burn effect, and it buys you a lot of time. It comes back as a body that defends you against aggression while burning out the opponent. There are a few issues that Amaryllis had in the past, and for me, it was just like if they would summon a big guy and you didn't have access to Mark of the Rose, things got kind of awkward. So that's why we are actually playing 3 copies of Caius the Shadow Monarch. This card's fantastic. It couples really well with the burnout strategy of Amaryllis. It couples really well with the Mark of the Rose, with the brain control as well. And it also gives you a way to convert those dandy tokens that you otherwise really don't have a ton of ways to convert. We'll get into the other conversions here in a second, but yeah, generally speaking, if you mill a dandy or you get access to dandy, Caius is the best thing that you can do in the format. I mean, Caius is one of the best monsters in the format. If we're not if we're not chopping words here, it's up there. It's like probably top 5 most played. Well, it's top 1 most played in most tournaments, top 2 if you count Sirocco as well. But yeah, it's one of the most played cards in the format. It's amazing. It domes people for 3,400. It's great against Blackwings, which is one of this deck's hardest matchups. It's also pretty good at dealing with stuff like Colossal Fighter that can give you a headache if you are trying to stick Titanials and attack directly. For other conversions off of the Dandelion, we've got Double Quick Draw and Debris Dragon. The nice thing about Quick Draw is it can empty your hand of things like Dandelion or Amaryllis, or it can get really aggressive and empty your hand of monsters so you can sack for Caius and then rebuild your hand with Morphing Jar in the middle to late game. Basically, it's great for aggressive pressure. All of the quick draw related monsters get summoned here. All of them, literally all of them. I think I've summoned every single one of these, even Road Warrior. Hold on, I gotta cough real quick. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, I've summoned all of these. They all have applications. One of my favorite ones in this deck is the Nitro Warrior. He's very aggressive. He works really well with the almost 20 copies of spells that we are playing. We've got a ton of spell cards that trigger his effect that give him plus 1,000 attack and allows him to attack for 3,800. So it's a very offensive threat. It works nicely with triple Hidden Armory, triple Miracle Fertilizer, because Quick Draw plus Dandelion obviously is a play that you can make without using your normal summon. So it allows you to stack all these incredibly strong, incredibly powerful effects all together all at once, and you don't really feel the downside that badly. 1 Debris Dragon just because it's a Black Rose nuke, and it can help get you game shots with the Black Rose second effect as well. Making a Stardust is sometimes solid, especially post board with the skill drains. Then you got Card Trooper because it's busted, Gorge because it's busted, and Morphing Jar because it's busted. So that's pretty much all the monsters. The spells, I am playing Trunade. It couples well with Miracle Fertilizer. If you Trunade back Miracle Fertilizer, the monster you summoned off of Miracle Fertilizer is not going anywhere. Then you can replay that Miracle Fertilizer and get a second Reborn. That's just a nice little synergy. That's why we're playing Trunade in the main over Typhoon. You could make an argument for Typhoon. It's more or less the same, but Trunade helps you play a little bit better into multiple back row as well, and it can help you go for game, which is one of the most important things that this deck needs to be able to do. Triple Upstart Goblin, people are like on the fence about this. A lot of people say that it's bad in Amaryllis, but I think that one of the biggest issues with Amaryllis is that it's inconsistent. It doesn't see its power plays as frequently as you want to see them. It doesn't see its trade-in, or its Lone Fire, or its Trap Dust Shoot as consistently as you want to see. The best hands in Amaryllis are the ones where you're summoning Titanial, or the ones where you've gotten your trade-in combo off. Trade-in plus Amaryllis combo. If you don't see those combos, then the deck is like really, really underpowered. And in this slot, normally people play stuff like Rykos, which just slows the deck down a ton. Adding a ton more normal summons, especially when you have these cards that restrict your normal summon, both Miracle Fertilizer and Hidden Armory, it can leave you with a lot of dead cards in hand that you don't get to deploy, and the game falls apart pretty quick in the face of like faster, more aggressive decks like Blackwings, that sort of thing. So Upstart Goblin, while it does give them life points, and this is a pseudo burnout deck, you can usually deal a lot of life points if you get set up. Like, you can usually deal 9,000 to 10,000 pretty easily if you get set up. And if you don't get set up, then this deck loses to everything. So I highly value the consistency that this card adds, the higher frequency of seeing your 2-power Lone Fire, your 3-power trade-ins, or your power Dust Shoot, or like your power Morphing Jar. Like, you see your power so much more consistently when you play 3 Upstart Goblin, and I like that a lot more than the alternatives. There are upsides to playing stuff like Charge Raikou, because you will sometimes mill your Amaryllis, sometimes mill your Dandelion. That's always good, right? But not always, and it's not very guaranteed or consistent, and it's just clunky, which is not a great way to be building a deck that needs consistency boosts. I do play the full 3 Hidden Armory. I do play Mark the Rose and DDR. I think this is one of the best parts of the deck, is the powerful equip package. Hidden Armory can add back from the graveyard as well, so you can get back your Mark of the Rose or your DDR if you've already used it. I do play Foolish Burial, insanely good card in this deck, as well as Brain Control. You could maybe make an argument for tuning this more to be like the hero quick draw decks, where you slim on things like Upstart Goblin, and then you start to add in the Future Fusion plus Stratos plus maybe Dasher or something along those lines. But if you're getting into that territory, then why not just play quick draw at that point? The Dandy Access is great with 3 Debris Dragon, but with only 1 Debris Dragon, sometimes getting Dandy Access is like fine, but it's not perfect, you know? The sideboard is just a bunch of cards that I like and think are busted in this deck. Skill Drain, obvious one. Decree, another obvious one. Decree plus Consecrated usually works pretty well up against the Dark Monster strategies. And then double Cyber Dragon, Vanity's Fiend, 1 Mystical Space Typhoon. This is like basic stuff. You can maybe make an argument for swapping Cyber Dragon for like more vanities, but it's good against Glads. Speaking of good against Glads, we have Triple Book, Double Vortex, and that just helps you deal with Glads, so you can go like Decree Book and then pretty much lock things up there, stick a Caius, and take him all the way. I got 3 replays to show you guys. Lock in, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get right into things. Is this the first one? I don't know. I don't think it is. I think this is the first one. Here we are. Okay, cool. Give me 1 second. I have to cough one more time. All right, sorry about that. We're back. So we lose a die roll, I believe. Yep. And my opponent starts off with Future Fusion. And this is the worst case scenario for any duelist, right? Like, this is like exactly where you don't want to be. You never want to be staring down a Future Fusion going second. This is the single best card in Edison format. Full stop. It is the best card in Edison format. It is obscenely powerful. And this is the worst card you can see revealed, which is the 5-headed dragon. Not ideal. What can I say? Anyway, he sends his dragons. He sends double Wyvern, double Red Eyes, and 1 Drago. So it is going to be a pretty powerful Future Fusion. Only 2 Wyvern sent means that we can maybe play through the Red Eyes advantage, but that 5-headed dragon's always scary. And then it means he probably has another Wyvern in hand. I don't know yet if he's playing Totem Dragon. Maybe he's drawn his 1 Totem Dragon. But it does give us a little bit of information as to what he's playing based off of what he sent here. He then activates Gold Sark and searches Heavy Storm. Usually speaking, if you Gold Sark after Future Fusion and search Heavy Storm, I don't know. I don't know if Heavy Storm is what you really want to search, but let's look at his hand and let's try to get an idea of what he could have searched instead. Looks like he is playing the Dandelion version here. He does have that 3rd Wyvern in hand, as we speculated. There's a Prime Mat and a Space Typhoon. He probably should have set the Space Typhoon and then not searched Heavy Storm. He probably should have searched like Brain Control or Dark Armed or Debris Dragon to couple with his Dandelion. I actually think that that's a much better search here than Heavy Storm. Heavy Storm doesn't make a lot of sense. Blows up your own Future Fusion. You already have Typhoon. You already have Primat. You really don't need Heavy Storm at this point. It just seems like a little bit of a mistake. Anyway, we go ahead and what do we do? Foolish the Dandelion. So we actually have game here if one specific thing happens. But let's figure out and see if it's going to happen. Activate the quick draw, bring out Nitro Warrior, activate Hidden Armory. So that's going to pump up our Nitro Warrior to 3,800 so it can run over this Red Eyes Darkness Metal. I'm liking Nitro Warrior here as a way to continuously out-aggro my opponent. Based off what the Hidden Armory mills, we can maybe make a couple different plays. We'll see how things go down. Hidden Armory mills exactly Titanial, so we had a 5-card chance of hitting off of Hidden Armory. If we hit Titanial or Lone Fire off of Hidden Armory, we actually do instantly win the game. We can now Mark of the Rose, take control of the Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, Miracle Fertilizer back Titanial, and that's going to be a turn 1 kill. So that's really why I like Quick Draw in this deck, is it represents really fast damage, and we were able to use both Hidden Armory and Miracle Fertilizer in the exact same turn. Perfect example of exactly what this deck is trying to do. Like literally exactly what I talked about in the deck profile. That's why I wanted to show you guys this match. It kind of exemplifies the strength of Quick Draw in this deck and why I think Quick Draw is the future of Amaryllis. It helps you cycle through your dead cards, get your Amaryllis in the graveyard. It's like just great in a lot of matchups, particularly against like frogs and stuff. This hand, we have a really good hand. We've got Jar, we've got Decree. So if our opponent sets a bunch, we have Decree, and so the Jar will still be pretty good. He's going to start off with Card Trooper, mill 3, and then he's going to hit Plague. So pretty lucky mill on his part. Sets a couple back row, passes back to us. Unfortunately, we do get dust shooted. So in this circumstance, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough because how do we approach this game, right? He takes the Dandelion. Him taking the Dandelion tells me he didn't have an out to Drill Warrior. So it makes me likely to believe that he has a Space Typhoon, and I'm not sure exactly how right my reads are on that. He does have Karma Cut, so he did have an out to a Drill Warrior. I'm kind of surprised he went for the Dandelion, but I get it, right? If we just set Morphing Jar and we discard Dandelion, that's quite a bit of advantage. So, and going Quick Draw Pitch Dandelion will force the Karma Cut as well, and he'll have to discard one of his powerful cards here. So maybe he doesn't want to do that. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, I Hidden Armory, mill Hidden Armory, grab Mark of the Rose. A little bit of an unlucky mill, but I didn't want to draw a second Hidden Armory here anyway. I set the Foolish. This is actually a misplay. I probably should have set the Mark of the Rose instead. And the reason I should have set the Mark of the Rose instead is because I'm happy if the Mark of the Rose gets Space Typhoon. I was trying to basically 50-50 and end phase Space Typhoon because I took the gamble that his back row was either Call to Haunted or Space Typhoon because he didn't have an out to Drill Warrior because that's what he took off Dust Shoot. Either that or he's comfortable with me Morphing Jar resetting the hand. I wanted to set 2 to play around the chance that he had Space Typhoon set in his back row there. I know it's like kind of a stretch to read that, and I am wrong, but it's still something that you have to factor in when you see your opponent's play patterns. You're like, why would he take Dandy instead of Morphing Jar here? Like, what is the point there? What is he thinking? And so we can choose to set Morphing Jar here, but now that he knows about it, it gets significantly weaker. And I should have set the Mark of the Rose because, yeah, let me circle back to that real quick. If I set Mark of the Rose and he Typhoons that, I'm actually pretty happy with that because I don't have a plant in my grave. But if he Typhoons my Foolish, I kind of get fucked. I need that Foolish to get Dandy access again. I need that Foolish to get Mark of the Rose live. And it is kind of weird to me that he took Dandy because we do have Foolish, which gets us Dandy access. But now it means that we'll have to pitch our Morphing Jar to get those that drill online, which is kind of ugly. So I decided to take a little bit of a passive play here, just set 2, and then establish the Decree so that next turn I can go for my plays with the Decree backup. So pass back to him. He draws DD Crow. Pretty good draw. So he's got a solid suite of cards here. He is going to get to hit us for quite a bit of damage too, which is nice. And then he hits again off of the Card Trooper, finding Dandelion. It's kind of ugly for us. He could now do a couple of different things. He could stack for Plague and really start to apply pressure. We don't really have much going on. So if he makes an Armory Arm here, we're kind of cooked. He just attacks for 19. We take 19 and passes a turn back. We draw Brain. Brain isn't terrible here, but it's not like amazing. We Foolish Dandy. I get 2 tokens. And I have a lot of options, but I decided to go for I have this idea, right, where if I make Nitro and I hit Card Trooper for 24 and the token for 28, that's 5,200. And then we can maybe find lethal with Brain, Mark, and Decree, pretty easily. He can never put a Red Eyes into play without defense as well. So I decide to go really aggressive here. Let me know in the comments if you think this is the right play. But yeah, I decided getting 5200 damage when I have live Mark Brain Control in hand against dragons, putting him to 2800. That's a pretty good place to be, right? Like, that's pretty solid. So I'm able to attack over the card trooper. He's going to take 24, activate, switch the token. Unfortunately, if we wanted to deal more damage, like 1,000 more, it wouldn't have made that much of a difference, and we would have had to waste one of our cards on a token. So I decided not to do that. But yeah, here there's some misclick stuff happening because he like removed the token before I declared, but it's all good. So yeah, we clear that guy. He drops to 2,800. Really good life total for him to be at because our Nitro Warrior is now lethal. He has to deal with it. The only way he can deal with it is trap cards, and yeah, I feel really confident here. He draws Space Typhoon. So with his 2 draws, he does find the Space Typhoon. I was kind of anticipating that. I was anticipating him having it for the Decree based off of how he acted into the Decree in general. But yeah, I think I played this game a little bit awkwardly. I'm not sure if the Nitro Warrior play was ideal, but I felt confident in my ability to close things out with Brain Mark. So he goes Gold Sark for future, set Typhoon. I go End-Phase Decree. And he lets this resolve. He could have chained his Karma Cut to this and then actually not had to Space Typhoon the Decree. He could have chained the Karma Cut to the Nitro Warrior, and then he could have saved the Space Typhoon for the Mark of the Rose. But he didn't do that. He just passes the turn back. And so we draw Miracle Fertilizer, which does represent lethal here. We can Miracle back Dandelion. Dandelion attack the token, and then Nitro Warrior attack. I'm being really wary of the Space Typhoon, so I don't want to burn my brain or my mark just yet. So I go for the Miracle, bring back the Dandy, and then I pump up the Nitro, attack the token, attack directly with Nitro. He goes cut, pitch Drago, Typhoon, hit the Decree. And so Nitro gets banished. His hand here is not very good. Like, he doesn't have any plays, and we can threaten him if we draw, like, anything. Ideally, Caius would be a good draw here. He does have Plague still in the grave, so he can still make a synchro play if he wants to. But, yeah, he chose not to crow our Dandelion. I don't really know why, but, yeah, he chose not to crow the Dandelion there. He draws Mirror Force. He sets the return and the Mirror Force and passes it back to us. We draw Upstart Goblin, and this is kind of an awkward spot. I think in hindsight I misplayed not playing this. I should have just activated it, but I didn't activate it. I just passed. I got greedy thinking like, oh, he'll bring out a Red Eyes in the end phase, and then we'll be able to Mark of the Rose it. But he knows about the Mark of the Rose because we hid an Armored for it, so it's pretty stupid of me to think that he's going to misplay, right? So, yeah, never count on your opponent to make bad plays. Always, like, you know, do your thing. He brings out double Red Eyes, and I do top deck the Quick Draw, so we would have drawn Quick Draw last turn. We would have been able to, you know, make some sort of Drill Warrior shenanigans. I don't know exactly how we would have approached the situation, but yeah, I probably should have just upstarted to get the Quick Draw in line. So we sack the Dandy for the Quick Draw, get 2 tokens. We go ahead and make... Now this is actually a bad play as well. I make Junk Archer, and then I priority activate Junk Archer. I made a lot of questionable plays this game. What I should have done here was actually not priority Junk Archer, because if he has Torrential Tribute, he's forced to use it. And if he has Bottomless Trap Hole, he flips Bottomless Trap Hole, but then I have Double Steal effect, and it forces him to have specifically Mirror Force. If he doesn't activate anything, then I can actually play around Mirror Force by taking both his guys and running them into it. So, yeah, it was a bit of a mistake. All of this is a bit of a mistake on my part, but it all starts with priority activate Junk Archer, and yeah, it just shows the technicality of Quick Draw and like his various option selects that you can have. This is all because my opponent didn't just crow the Dandelion when he was supposed to, but it would have left Miracle Fertilizer in play, and I understand why people don't crow Miracle Fertilizer. It's like, it feels bad. It feels bad to go hard -1, you know, but it ended up getting us to this Junk Archer. We do priority activate. It's a bit of a mistake, because if he chains Bottomless, I actually want the second Red Eyes to be in play, to play through Spot Removal, Deep Prison, or to play into his own Mirror Force. I mark the Red Eyes, and here I'm realizing my mistake. I should have just summoned Junk Archer. If he does nothing, then we just take both monsters. And yeah, I make a huge mistake here, because now even a single Spot Removal stops this, even a single Deep Prison, when I could have just played around it. And now I'm dead on board to Red Eyes come back, bring back the Drago, or bring back the Prime Mat, and whatever he summons is going to kill us. So yeah, we go to the next game here. Concede, and then yeah, I said Lucky Typhoon, but in reality I knew it was there, you know. I knew it was there. I do like to tell people sometimes they're lucky for having a card, even though I know there's only one reality. Even though he didn't have it when I read him having it, he did pick it up later. Our opening hand here is pretty good. We've got Caius plus Dandelion. You really can't complain when you have Dandelion plus Caius and any deck that has Dandelion plus Caius, because that's how shit works. And we get to go first, so I can just set Dandy, set Typhoon if I want to. Probably a mistake to set Typhoon, but I still have PTSD from game one. That Future Fusion kind of scared me. I want to be able to pick that off. And then just being able to hit like a Karma Cut before it's like set, or that Dust Shoot. Like he Dust Shooted us game two, and that really warped things. He charges for Lila, and I get instantly punished for setting the Typhoon. I'm like, shit, I'm so fucking stupid. I forgot he plays Lila. And he definitely has two copies because he has the charge and the Lila, so it's at least two copies. I should have played around that. He attacks the Dandelion, 2 tokens. He breaks the Typhoon. Feels bad, man. Emphase mills 3. We draw a Hidden Armory. And now I kind of have to take some risks. I have to brain control this guy and try to get Titanial established. Brain control the Lila, double sack for Titanial, and he has Torrential anyway, so things look rough. I'm actually pretty down bad here. You know, he got a lot of value out of Lila Torrential. He got several of my cards. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards for his Lila and Torrential, so that's bad. That's really, really bad. Pass the turn back. He sets a back row. No pressure. So once again, under no pressure, I think we are a favorite here. So we draw Trunade. I just Hidden Armory, keep it simple. Mill Trade-In, which sucks. Would have loved to draw that. Again, drawing Trade-In plus Amaryllis is just like, it's the nuts, and you want to see it every game, and that's why you got to play the Upstarts. Anyway, we find Mark, pass the turn back. He draws again, he passes the turn back again. And I'm like, that's hella interesting. Now I've drawn Lone Fire. I can get Dandy access if I want to, or I can just go get another Titanial if I want to. I decided to just go for another Titanial. Let's force the back row. Let's get it out of here. And if I can connect for 28, like into whatever this is, if it's a Dust Tornado, for example, or a Space Typhoon that he's trying to play around that Mark of the Rose that I searched, then, you know, maybe we connect for 28, and then maybe there's a Mark plus Caius turn here in the future where we win the game. So, yeah, attack for 28, and he just takes 28, and I'm like, damn, I'm actually up huge here. Like, I thought I was getting crushed this game, and a couple of slow turns from the opponent. Let's check out what he's got. His own Caius's, Dark Arm Dragon as well. I think this version of Dragons, and I've said this a million times on camera, I think this version of Dragons is very bad. I think it's a bad deck. Just because, like, it's very clunky. Compared to the other aggro dragon deck, I would have been dead here. Like, if he had had that exchange in, like, an aggro dragon deck or, like, a Lightsworn dragon deck, I would have been destroyed. But I think this version is just so clunky. It's so slow. It's like the Wyverns are slow, the flip effects are slow, the Caiuses are slow, Dad is rarely live. You can brick on stuff like Return. It's not it. He should have sided out Return this matchup, to be fair, but yeah. Anyway, he foolishes, sends Wyvern, Emphase, Wyvern's out the Red Eyes. I'm like, why just win now? Because I have Trunade plus Mark. And he's doing this because he has to, right? But, like, I just Trunade the Mark, right? And the game's over. So, this deck, it feels really interesting because, like, you can be down a lot of, like, cards, and, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, Wyvern is slow. It's, like, inherently a slow card. You have to pass the turn with your guy in play, and then you give your opponent all the opportunities to do stuff with Caius, to do stuff with brain control, or in this case, Mark of the Rose. Like, you give your opponent all the opportunity to, like, make a Colossal and deal with that Red Eyes. So, like, playing this sort of, like, slow set Raikou, mill a Wyvern, wait a whole nother turn, get out the Red Eyes. It's like, I just don't believe in this strategy. And every time I've played it or played against it, it has similar issues where it just bricks, like, hella bad. And it can't, like, press in the way that literally every other Dragon deck can. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. But back to Amaryllis. This deck, it feels weird because sometimes you'll be down cards and then your opponent just dies in, like, 1 or 2 hits because the monsters are so big and, like, your pressure is, like, massive. It's like, okay, I hit you 3 times, you die. It's kind of like in I don't know if you guys have played Super Smash Brothers, but, like, if you're playing against, like, a heavyweight character, like, they don't need a lot of openings to send you flying, you know? And in this game, this deck feels a lot like a heavyweight character. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like You hit them for 2,800 a couple times, that Mark of the Rose is just game over. It doesn't matter how many cards they have, right? So you can find checkmate in a lot of ways with this deck just based off of like positional stuff, and it does a really good job at punishing people who brick, which is something I like about Amaryllis. It doesn't necessarily do that well into decks that that can put up a lot of chump blockers, but that's really why I like the Caius as well, is like stuff like the dupe block or stuff like, I don't know, like set pyramid turtle or something like that, like really annoying shit that gets in your way. Caius just gives you a way to sort of like aggressively press through that and then get to that point where your heavyweight stuff is connecting. All right, let's move on to the next match. The next match is up against a really cool deck. We won the die roll, which is really lucky, and we did open Lone Fire, always lucky. Gonna go for that Dandelion in defense, set Mirror Force. The reason we grabbed Dandelion here is because we have a pretty dead hand, and I would like to sack Dandelion for Caius, and then maybe use those tokens to tribute summon an Amaryllis later in the game to get our engine going. He goes 1-for-1, pitches Yugioh, and brings out the Karibo. I've never seen a Karibo deck in Edison format, so I don't really know what they do. But I do know that people cook with them like a lot. They have some cool cards. They have Karibo, obviously, fan favorite card. You have like Flute of Summoning Karibo, which is an ultimate rare. It's basically an e-telly for like Karibo type cards. And then I believe it has its own Icarus attack as well, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead and set a couple cards here, pass the turn back. We draw Quick Draw. Great draw here because then we can pitch an Amaryllis and synchro off with the tokens. Sack Dandy. Caius is going to go ahead and just go after a back row. He's going to chain these. He's going to go ahead and chain Detonate, Chainlink 1, and then Multiply, Chainlink 2. So these cards are interesting, right? Multiply is from the anime. It says tribute 1 Karibo, special summon as many Karibo tokens as possible in defense position. They cannot be tributed for a tribute summon. So you get 5 Karibos for the price of 2 cards. How good is that? I don't know. It seems pretty interesting with this card here, Detonate. Detonate says destroy as many Karibo cards, Karibo tokens you control, and then destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number destroyed by this effect. So because this is Chainlink 1, it'll resolve after the Multiply. Multiply works, tributes the Karibo. He gets 5 Karibo tokens. And then Detonate has to destroy all 5 of those tokens, but then he gets to destroy both my cards, which is a pretty strong Chainlink here. So Chainlink 1 is going to be Dandelion. Chainlink 2 is going to be Caius targeting Detonate. Chainlink 3 is going to be Detonate. Chainlink 4 is going to be Multiply. They're going to resolve backwards. Multiply is going to give him 5 tokens. Detonate's going to destroy all the tokens. He's going to blow up the Caius and the Mirror Force. And then Chainlink 1 resolves last, and we get 2 Dandy tokens. Which we come out on top here because Dandy resolves after Caius and after the Detonate, of course. And so we're able to pitch the Amaryllis and special the Quick Draw and establish Drill Warrior. Despite him having a pretty favorable exchange there, I'd say. Despite having to use 1-for-1 to go minus to get the Karibo in play, had he just naturally had a Karibo there, that would have been a really good play. Like, that would have been really cool. So, yeah, pretty sweet little interaction that went down there. And if he has more copies of Detonate, I mean, like, this could actually be pretty difficult for us to deal with. It wipes out Titanium. It deals with spell and trap cards, face-up ones like Miracle Fertilizer or Mark of the Rose. It deals with Drill Warrior on my turn because it's quick play. And we don't really have a great way to interact with it because Titanium doesn't stop this, obviously, and Decree doesn't stop this, so we don't really have a great way to side against it. Pretty interesting card, and it lines up very interestingly up against our deck. So this is kind of a cool matchup. I thought it would be cool showing you guys. There's a lot of creative stuff in Edison format, and like there's a lot of decks that like still I see them and I'm like, wow, that's really creative, you know. But yeah, pitch Amaryllis, and I've been playing this format basically every day for like the last 5 years. So the fact that I can still see a deck and be like, oh, that's kind of sweet, that's kind of tight. It says a lot about the format. This is a really magical format. It's a really special format for a lot of reasons. Anyway, we don't bring out the Amaryllis. He just concedes to the Drill Warrior. Probably a premature concession, but maybe his hand was a little weak. And you know, we had a pretty good draw there. We were going to be able to get back a quick draw and then kind of run away with things if he didn't have interaction. I sided in Vanity Fiend because I don't know what the fuck I'm playing against. I actually don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's going to attack me. I don't know if he's going to like, if he has some other crazy combo that takes a bunch of Karibo tokens and like converts them into huge monsters somehow, like United We Stand or something. I don't really know what's going on. So I just brought in the Vanity Fiend because I'm like, It stops multiply, I guess. It stops Flute of Summoning Karibo. That's probably good enough, right? He goes for a little T set here. He sets his Stygian Security and his Royal Decree. I draw Upstart Goblin, fire it off, see what we find. We find an Amaryllis, so yeah, once again, not finding that trade-in feels bad, man, but we have a decent hand here. I can fire the Hidden Armory, hopefully mill a plant. We mill Titanial, which is great. We can Miracle Fertilizer that back. And I'm like, man, maybe I should bring that back. Maybe I should bring back the Titanial and start getting aggressive. Like, what could he have set here that I really worry about? Anyway, I go for the Miracle Fertilizer, bring out the Titanial. And then I True Nade to get back my Miracle Fertilizer because, like, you know, if the Titanial gets dealt with, I want my Gores to be live. And I also want this attack to go through, so I attack, and then he gets out a Stygian Security, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. 1-star tuner, easy Catastrophe access. I have no way of dealing with that. This is going to be a quick one. This is tough. So I'm in a bad spot here. He switches it to attack, and then he hits me with a creature swap, and I'm like, fuck. That is not good. that is really not good. He gives me the Stygian Security, attacks over, we take 27. And now I'm the one getting beat down, and this is not something I prepared for at all, but it makes perfect sense. It's something to do with those Karibos, those extra bodies off of Multiply, and yeah, I should have known that there were some shenanigans at foot here, but yeah, pretty premature on the Miracle Fertilizer, perhaps. I just thought I could get cute with it. I draw Typhoon. I set it. He End-Phase Decrees me. I'm like, okay, I'll drop Gores on the Titanial attack. Maybe I'll be able to stabilize. Unlikely, but maybe. He summons Karibo, and I'm like, okay, that's legit. You got a Karibo in play now. And he can multiply and then get 3 tokens. And now I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. He makes Army Arm here, and I'm just dead on board. Like, I can't win. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm just losing to this. Anyway, he makes Army Arm. He attacks. You know, we're going to drop to like 300 life points here. I Typhoon the Decree, 700. Drop Gores, but like he just equips the Army Arm, and now I need to draw an out or I lose. And I'm like, fuck, dude. I have no plants in my grave. Mark of the Roses in and out. Like, this is rough. I need to draw Caius, basically. I draw for turn. It's Upstart Goblin. I'm okay. I got to redraw. Let's see the redraw. Trade in maybe? Something lucky? No. Morphing Jar. We're just dead on board. There's nothing we can do. And we just lose to this. I could set my back row, but there's no way he's not attacking. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There's no way he's not attacking. And I got cooked. I got fucking owned. And then I started thinking, maybe this matchup is bad. Maybe this deck just beats me. Because you know how my deck is like, I go minus, I deal a bunch of damage, right? But he just has Karibo to counter my damage. This card has a real effect in his hand. I'm just sitting here like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how am I losing? This is rough. Anyway, so still testing this deck. It's fun. I'm like, yeah, it seems really cool. It seems like a really fun deck. A really, really sweet deck. I think I messaged that at some point. I'm saying it looks fun. It does look fun. Anyway, we fire off the Upstart Goblin. We draw into a star to go with our trade-in. We also already had the trade-in, but hey, you know what? Good shit. We have the nuts. This is Quick Draw Dandy Debris, baby. It's a Addison Format Classic. Pitch the Dandy, get some tokens. Synchro into Drill. Normal Debris, bring back Dandy, make Stardust, get some tokens. Pitch Titanial. And I have an extra token here. I shouldn't have had this extra token here. That's Chet. Neither of us caught that. Huge mistake on my part. I must have misclicked in some of the extra token and nobody noticed. But yeah, I should have one less token here. I don't think it ends up mattering too much. We'll see if it ends up mattering, but I have the nuts, so I don't think it really matters. Hit for 24, hit for 25. Play around Gores, don't need to attack. Drill Warrior, pitch, banish. He summons King Yugioh, attacks over the token. Yeah, I don't think it matters too much, because here he would have just summoned the Kinka and then activated creature swap. So it ended up not mattering, thankfully. Yeah, creature swaps. DD Crows the Dandelion. He gets back the Kinka. Thankfully for us, we have double Dandelion. Go ahead and add back Debris. We're still in a great spot here. I mean, like, we're dealing a ton of damage. We don't have the Stardust Dragon anymore, which does suck, but, you know, it's whatever. It is what it is. Just attack the Stardust. Attack for 24. Does he have Gores? He does. So, really interesting deck. I like it a lot. The Gores isn't going to take down the Titanial, but if he has another creature swap, it could have got ugly if I didn't have the Dandelion to pitch here. So, thankfully we do have the Dandelion to pitch, but it still doesn't look great. End phase, I bring out the Amaryllis, and he goes summon this guy, bring back Crow, run over all my 0 defense guys. He drops to 600 life points, exactly where you want your opponent to be with the Amaryllis, where you can ping them to death. He goes Flute of Summoning Karibo in defense position here, and then main phase 2, he drops the big boy Plasma. Thankfully, Titania lines up really well against Plasma, so what a sweet deck, dude. This is just a cool deck. Like, objectively, a very cool deck. And I think he's cooking. I think this looks like a lot of fun. Definitely something that I may try to play in the future. I love Karibo. I love all these, like, silly little Karibo cards. I hate Creature Swap, but, hey, you know, it is what it is. We negate the Plasma. He bounces back that guy. We grab back the Drill, and that's game over in multiple ways. Even if he has Karibo to stop the Drill attack, which he might have. He doesn't, but even if he did have Karibo to stop the Drill attack, we could then sack for Caius, target the Gores, and then win from there. So, yeah, good shit. Or we could just bring out the Amaryllis, and that will ping him as well. A lot of ways to find that last few points of damage in this game, but really sweet deck from the opponent. Maybe 3 Plasma is a little overkill, but I could see it. It works. It works around the tribute summon restrictions of Multiply. So. Yeah, maybe this is like the only payoff that you can really utilize fully with Multiply. Who knows? I don't fucking know. But sick stuff to the opponent. Shout out to the opponent for having a really cool deck. And then we move into the last replay here, which is, I believe, we go second again. This time we do have the trade-in, which is nice. He's got Solar Recharge. Pitches Jane, draws 2, mills 2. Classic. Set, pass. We draw Upstart. I fire that bad boy off. Try to hit that Amaryllis for the trade-in. We hit Lone Fire, which is nice. So I decided to go for the Lone Fire into Titanial. I could have gone into Dandelion here. Might have been a better play. I'm not really sure. But I was a little bit worried that we were maybe not playing against Lights. No, this has to be Lightsworn. This configuration, Jane, Solar Recharge, yeah, it has to be Lightsworn. I kind of wanted to negate his mills, but I maybe should have just gone Dandelion and poked. That's a tough one. Yeah, I decided to negate his mills here. I trade in after using the Lone Fire so we don't draw to Titanial. And then I draw 3 Hidden Armory, 1 DDR. So if there's ever an argument to play less than 3 Hidden Armory, it's this game right here. Pretty bricked hand. We attack into the Raikou. Raikou targets the Titanial. Titanial negates the Raikou. Standard stuff. He goes Monster Reincarnation, target the Jane, pitching Wolf. Normal Jane, attack for 18. We're going to have to take that damage. And face he mills 2. He hits Gareth. So he's got 4 names. Pretty brutal. We draw Quick Draw. Hopefully Hidden Army will get me somewhere. Mills a Lone Fire. Not ideal. But I do have Mark of the Rose. I do have DDR. Bring back Lone Fire. I do have Lone Fire activate. Go get Titanial. This whole game would have been maybe a little different had I gone for that Dandelion line. Would have made me a little bit more resilient to stuff. I hit for a bunch of damage here, and I'm like threatening lethal, but yeah, I just need one more thing to go right. Debris Dragon, unfortunately, does line up pretty poorly with Hidden Armory, and we drew all 3 Hidden Armories this game, so. Yeah, maybe I didn't need to discard Hidden Armory. Maybe I should have discarded Debris Dragon or discarded Quick Draw. I was hoping to mill Dandelion or Amaryllis or something, but you can never count on mills in this deck, I'm telling you guys. Anyway, he uses Honest to get over the Titanial, and then he attacks for 16, and now I'm in the JD zone, which is never where you want to be. He mills Wolf, mills 3 more cards. We've seen only 1 JD, I believe. No JDs, so pretty high chance of him having it. We get the Jane back, which is something, but not ideal. Debris Dragon, bring out the Lone Fire, blow up the field with Black Rose. Hit a Royal Decree main deck. Interesting choice. He shows he is playing Allure, which means he's on the Twilight build. Draws 2, banishes, and he does hit that JD and KOs us, so a little bit of a tough draw this game. We took a little bit too much damage from the fast aggression from the Lightsworn player. We went second. We opened triple Hidden Armory DDR. And even still, like, if he didn't find JD here, I would have liked my chances. Like, would have been a fine game. I'm curious to see what I would have drawn next. Anyway, moving to the next game. I think last turn, it may have been smart for me to quick draw, just summon the quick draw and pitch the Amaryllis, and then use the Amaryllis to get something banished so that I was pressuring his life total on the next turn, even if he didn't have JD. So I think that I played that game a little bit too passively, even though I would have lost to JD no matter what. This game we get to go first. I sided in Book of Moons. Fantastic card against Lightsworn. They can have Arcus. You got to be careful of that. And that's why I also sided in the Lightning Vortex. We start off with draw Dandelion, normal Card Trooper. Do we ever hit with this card? The answer is no. Never. Not even once. Set 2 back row, pass the turn back. And against Lightsworn, I actually really do like holding Trap Dust Shoot. So he goes for Lila. He goes Lila attack. I decided to book the Lila here, deny the mills. Dandelion can then run over the Lila. Feeling pretty confident here. Sets a back row. I end, or no, not end phase. In response to him setting the back row, I Dust Shoot him. Or like on, not in response to, but like, I guess in response to would be the technical term of it. But after your opponent plays a card, you have priority to do like spell speed 2 things. So he sets his first card. He goes to 4 cards in hand. I'm like, okay, I need to Dust Shoot here. Or else he could set another card and then my Dust Shoot is dead and then he possibly decrees it. So I decree him on setting the card. I decided to take Aaron here in case I need to put something in defense position, like Amaryllis, for example. I want to deny him access to that. Lumina's pretty good, but yeah, I wanted to deny him access to Aaron on Amaryllis if that comes up. On our turn, we draw a second Amaryllis. Not great, but maybe we can pressure him a good bit. We mill with Card Trooper. Again, that's why milling fucking is ass, basically. You mill everything but Amaryllis, then you draw double Amaryllis every time. Anyway, attack over the Lila, attack for 19, pass the turn back. He draws into another wolf, so pretty unlucky for him. He goes Brain on Card Trooper, trying to unbrick his hand a little bit. Mills 3, and then he hits, again, some ass cards. This Card Trooper, not a very lucky Card Trooper. I need to swap him out. Anyway, he summons the Lumina, pitches the wolf, brings out the Lila. He's going to be able to break through all our tokens, which does suck. I would have liked to tribute summon Amaryllis at some point, but it is what it is. He runs over the tokens and gives us back the Card Trooper. So maybe, just maybe, Card Trooper can give us some goodies. Mills some more cards. Hits Necrogardna. Great mill. We draw Hidden Armory. Pretty good draw. Pretty good draw. Card Trooper's going to mill 3. Going to go to 19. I'm just going to Vortex. Get the Amaryllis in the grave. I may save the Hidden Armory for Mark to take a JD later in the game to close things out. Attack for 19. Nice part here is he's going to drop to 34. He could have used the Necrogardna there to stay above that threshold, but I got to bring out Amaryllis here. And the nice thing about bringing out Amaryllis here is this means he can only activate JD 1 time. So if his top deck is JD, he activates JD, he'll take 1,800. He'll drop down to 1,600. And then if I ever bring out Amaryllis again, he can't even activate that JD because then he'll deal 1,800 to himself again and lose the game. So this insulates me from the second JD activation, which is exactly where you want to be against Lightsworn. It's a pretty tough matchup. He draws a brick card. We just have game on board, more or less, because once I hit him with one of these guys, then he can't even JD. And then we finally do hit the Dandelion, so we get some tokens. Takes me forever to switch out the tokens here to the right one. Switch my guy. Attack for 19. That goes through. Attack with this guy. It gets negated. I go ahead and set Book of Moon just because at this point, there's very few things that could really shut me down here, but it would be like Brain on Amaryllis, Caius on Card Trooper, and then like third card maybe. I don't even know what he could possibly have third card, but there's really no reason not to set the book, so we set the book. And he loses that one. So yeah, a little bit bricked. I mean, we're both playing kind of inconsistent decks, but I think ours is slightly more consistent. My bad, I had to sneeze. Anyway, moving into game 3, we've got same combination that took down game 2, Dust Shoot plus Book. Really fantastic combination against Lightsworn. Little bit different hand here though. We do have Debris Dragon, which is like kind of on the weaker side of things, and we are going second. So he's able to get his Card Trooper down, mill 3, and he hits a Raikou, which is pretty good. We draw Hidden Armory. Not ideal. I'm not sure about this Debris Dragon. I do think it's fine. I think it's like okay, but I think that maybe there's a better option. I set it here at a wall with the Card Trooper, so can't really complain. I just set all my back row. Fuck it, have Heavy Storm, you know? Anyway, he mills 3, hits another Raikou, so man, really unlucky Card Troopers from both of us this game, but ours kind of went the distance there. He summons Aaron, totally fine with this. I got the skill drain, so he attacks with the Aaron. I go for the skill drain, pay 1,000. He goes Chain Typhoon, so he has Aaron Typhoon, 2 one-ofs, able to take down the skill drain combination, but I do have that Book of Moon, hit the Aaron, and then on resolution, I Dust Shoot him. because I don't want him to have like a weird rush recklessly or something to get over this 3-giant. No, I'm just joking. I does shoot him here because if he has something that he can play, then yeah, I don't know. I just want to do it before he goes below 4 cards, basically. So does shoot him. Take the honest, obviously. Double wolf hand. Pretty unlucky on his side of things. We had a double Amaryllis hand last game, so it's all the same, more or less. He attacks with the card trooper, deals himself 100, sets the decree, and we need to top deck a conversion to deal with this Aaron, or else I'm kind of fucked. But thankfully, I draw one of the best cards on my deck, which is Caius the Shadow Monarch. I'm able to Caius, banish the card trooper, attack over the Aaron, and pass the turn back. He draws into Lumina, summons Lumina, pitches Wolf, brings out Aaron. He's just trying to mill defense, try to get to Plague, try to get to Necro. He doesn't get to either, but he does get to 4 names. So JD is now unlocked. I did draw Lightning Vortex. I could Vortex him here to get some damage in, or I could leave him with an Aaron in play. Couple of options. I decided to Hidden Armory, grab Mark of the Rose now, so I can get ahead on normal summons. And then I attack that Lumina. And I decide to say, fuck it, I'll save the Vortex. You never know. Anyway, he draws, he finds a lure, he rips it blind. I actually think this is a pretty big mistake. He's not under lethal pressure yet, so there's no need to do this yet. He can wait one more turn before doing it. He rips it, and then he misses. He has to discard his hand. And maybe it's fine. Maybe he had to dig 2 cards closer to getting out of honest. He drew all 3 wolves this game. Super unlucky. But, yeah, maybe he feels like he has to do it because I have Mark of the Rose now, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where, like, even if you hit a dark, you have to banish. Is that all 3 wolves? Oh, no, it's just 2 wolves. Never mind. I lied. He only hit 2 wolves. He's incredibly lucky, actually, that he didn't draw the 3rd Kappa. But even if he hits a Caius, he has to banish it, and then he's still stuck with the wolf in hand. So I feel like you just want to wait. Like, most of the dark monsters, you'd rather draw, honestly, and not have to discard. So I think holding off on that allure actually makes more sense to me. If he rolls 3, he hits Phantom and Chaos. Phantom is a cool card to play in Twilight. I actually like it in Twilight. I think it's pretty cool. I didn't always like it, and then someone in the Discord said, you should try it. I was like, all right. I'm not above trying it. I tried it, and it was good. It was actually pretty good. There's a lot of great things you can copy. You can copy Card Trooper. You can copy Lila if you're not set up. You can copy Honest, run over something, bounce the Phantom back to your hand for later use. You can copy JD, of course. Chaos Sorcerer, both great. Dark Armed as well is great. You can control your graveyard for Dark Armed Dragon using the Phantom. So it offers a lot of utility. It's not obviously great pressure, but it is utility, and it can field nuke and get you out at some tight spots like Light Mirror or Royal Oppression. Anyway, we draw another Caius, and this is actually a pretty tough circumstance to be in, because, like, he already has 4 names, right? He already has JD unlocked. He's got Jane, Celestia, Wolf, Lumina, and Raikou. He's got 5 names even. So there's really no reason to banish this Aaron. We can just run over the Aaron with the Caius, but then we're not dealing damage. And how important is it that we deal damage with this hand? When you're looking at your hand, you're like, is it important to deal the damage and burn my Caius? Or is it better to save the Caius for a potential discard of Lightning Vortex or a potential conversion off Mark of the Rose? And I decided that it's better to save the Caius, play more conservatively. We're dominating on life points. We're dominating on card advantage. We're up 5 cards to 2 on his draw phase. So I think it's just hold the Caius and just don't overcommit. Don't get too hasty with things. 2400 is not exactly important damage at this point. He draws Crow. He sets it. We draw Torrential Tribute. And now here's another really interesting setup. Do we Crow a set monster? Or do we Crow the Decree? If we Crow the Decree, it pretty much guarantees he'll never beat us, because then we've got Torrential for the JD, and then that's the second JD, and the game's over. But if we Crow the set monster, and it's Raikou, then we come up big. And if we Crow the back row, and it's not Raikou, or it is Raikou, then we kind of lose our only point of pressure here. So I decide to actually go after the Decree, and just say he got 15 cards left in his deck. There's a good chance that set monsters like a Necrogardener or a Plague, like there's a good chance it's not even a Raikou, because 2 Raikous are already gone. So I'm going to go after the Decree and just guarantee that I have a live Torrential and just swing into a set monster. I don't know if this is the right play. It very very easily could have been a wrong play, but I figured, like, okay, if it's Raikou, he's milling another 3 cards anyway. And then I've got Torrential, Mark, Vortex to sort of make sure he can never come back. And he only has 11 cards left in deck. Only one JD that's really threatening. He's top decking. There's no, like, great top deck that, like, gets you out of a circumstance besides specifically Avarice, which we did see he was playing. But in the case of Avarice, once again, I would rather have the Torrential. So I run over the Crow, set the Torrential. He draws a Decree, and then he concedes. I think this is a little bit of a premature concession on his side. He's only taking 2,400 the next turn. He could have easily played this out and then, like, had a top deck Dad or something like that, top deck JD. Especially with this Royal Decree. Man, it could have been really bad for us. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I made the right plays. I don't know if whatever. But, yeah, next turn he would have drawn Monster Reincarnation. And he would have been fine, I guess. Maybe. Yeah, because we were drawing Hidden Armory next turn anyway, so... Unless the Hidden Armory milled a plant, like, he's probably chilling. Looks like it would have, though, because the next card was Titanial, so... Yeah, a crazy match, a crazy interesting match. A lot of, like, unique lines there. Whether or not to use the Caiuses, whether or not to use the Vortexes or whatnot. But overall, I really like this build. The cards I'm the biggest fan of... I'm probably kicked out of Dueling Book, right? Yeah, as usual. The cards I'm the biggest fan of in the list, I really do like how Quick Draw works with Amaryllis. It's like, it's got a lot of overlap, like nice overlap. And I really like how Caius has worked in the deck, surprisingly. It just allows you to get that pressure in, that important pressure. And, like, I don't know, it's nice. It's like, oh, you thought you were safe setting your monster defensively, setting your Dandelions, setting your Dupe Frogs or whatever. Nah, I've got Mark plus Caius, and it's like, all of a sudden, you're taking 3,400, helps you against Blackwings. I didn't really show it in these replays, but it does help you a lot against Blackwings as well. And yeah, I still think Upstart Goblin's necessary. You really do need the consistency. You need to be able to see your combos. Debris Dragon's kind of the on the fence card, I think, in the deck. As for the side deck, I like it. I think it works. I think the only thing you can maybe change is, like, maybe you don't need 2 Cyber Dragons. Maybe you could get away with just 1. And then maybe you side, like, something that attacks over Dinah, because Dinah's kind of a bitch for this deck. But, yeah, I think in a lot of matchups that typically side Dinah, whether that's, like, Hero Frog or Blackwings, sometimes you just bring in the skill drains just because, you know, just because. You also got books to deal with them, Vortex. Maybe you don't need another out for Dinah. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a crazy week. I know I've been saying we're going to announce the next RBET this week. I'm like super triple fingers crossed. Everything is good to go tomorrow. And we will get that out for you guys tomorrow with a banger video. Yeah, and this has been a great season so far. I'm really looking forward to next season. RBET at Genesis is going to be insane. It's going to be super, super hype. And you don't want to sleep on that. Sign up while you can. It will sell out, for sure. You guys already know the vibes. All right, I'll see you guys in the next vid. Peace.